Welcome to Unit 1 of Ministry Practicum. This first unit is going to deal with establishing goals for your Ministry Practicum. Before we get started, I want to just read a passage of Scripture to you from Matthew 6:5 through 8. The passage says, and this is Jesus speaking during his Sermon on the Mount, "And when you pray, you must not be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and at the street corners that they may be seen by men. Truly I say to you, they have received their reward. But when you pray, go into your room and shut the door, and pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. And in praying, do not heap up empty phrases as the Gentiles do, for they think that they will be heard for their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him." I want to emphasize that last verse. Your Father knows what you need before you ask him. Many times we don't know what our own needs are, and we have to go to the Father to find out what they are. And in this course, it's going to be like that. Unlike a lot of courses, the student needs are not spelled out by the instructor. Each of you have unique needs, and this course is more about learning the processes which enables you to meet your specific needs as a minister, rather than coming to you with preconceived ideas about what your needs are. And so in order to do this course effectively, we have to first recognize what our needs are so that we can establish goals. Let's claim the promises of these verses and ask God to help us identify and meet needs in our lives. As part of your practicum, you are to negotiate and establish at least 3 personal and 3 ministry goals with your supervisor. These goals will guide your activities and will help the supervisor understand what it is that you want to get out of this experience. Because, as I said, you are the one that's establishing what your needs are and what needs this course is going to meet. And so, therefore, the better job you do of understanding what your needs are, the better job you're going to be of setting goals, and the more you are going to get out of this experience what you need to get out of this experience. As Matthew 6:5 through 8 pointed out, God does know our needs, but sometimes it's a little harder for us to discern what our needs are. The process of discovering our needs starts with a definition of what a need is. There are a number of definitions. The one that I like to use is the distance between what is and what ought to be. Our present reality and that future reality that we would like to see. Need is the distance between what our present circumstances are and what we would like our future circumstances to be. So therefore, my present may be that I am weak and out of shape. Where I want to be is I want to be in very good shape and strong. So the need is that distance between here and here. My need is to become strong from the place where I am. It's important to recognize what our starting point is and where our ending point is. Now, there are needs for personal development. Those needs that will help us to become the person, the minister that we need to be. They can be cognitive needs. Cognitive needs are the acquisition and use of information that you have not accessed before, i.e. things you need to know. For example, I might need to know better how a teenager thinks about faith. And so that is a cognitive need. Now, I may find ways to meet that need. For example, reading James Fowler's Stages of Faith to understand what the stages are in faith development. But the need is expressed as I need to know. I'm working with teenagers, therefore I need to know how they develop in their faith. It can also be skills needs, things that I need to know how to do. Um, acquiring the ability to do something that you couldn't do before, things you need to know how to do. For example, I may not know how to put together a budget for a children's ministry. Now, that's my present reality. The future reality is I want to be able to do a very good budget that will help guide a children's ministry to effective service. So my need is getting from where my present reality is to where I want to be. That's a skills need. And so as we're looking at needs for the practicum, I want you to keep in mind both cognitive and skills-based needs. There's another category of needs that you need to consider, and that is the needs of the organization or the program where you are ministering. What the program or the organization needs to fulfill part of its mission. For example, we may need to have more leadership in our young adult program. And because we don't have much leadership now, we need that leadership. And so that's a need of the organization. And as you look at your practicum, I want you to look not only at your personal needs, how you're going to grow personally, but also how you are going to help the organization or the program fulfill the mission that it has recognized for itself. Now, the process of determining personal needs involves asking some key questions. For example, what do I need to know that I don't presently know about this ministry? That's a cognitive need. What do I need to know? Or what do I need to know how to do that I presently do not know how to do? Let me give you an example. My what is that I don't know how to set up a preschool Sunday school room. What ought to be, as a minister of education or somebody involved in the ministry of education, I should know how to set up a preschool room in order to maximize teaching, learning for our preschoolers. And so you have what is and what ought to be. And if you know those two things, you know what your need is. Determining ministry or organizational needs is similar to finding personal needs. Some key questions that may help you is, what are the present strengths of this program or organization? What are the weaknesses? And what should the program or organization be doing or learning in order to take steps toward accomplishing its mission? An example. What is our youth ministry to the children our youth ministry ministers to the children whose parents are active members of the church. That's our present circumstance. What ought to be, our youth ministry should meet at least one real need unique to the youth of unchurched families. So the need is expressed in moving from here, where we're meeting only the needs of the children whose parents are active members, to the meeting needs that are peculiar to the youth of unchurched families. Now, in order to do this part of the of Unit 1, I'm going to ask you to go to the class website, click on Assignments, and click on Unit 1, Assignment 1, and follow directions. You will be asked to identify at least 5 personal needs and 5 organizational needs. Now, as you are determining organizational needs, if you can possibly do it, try to arrange talking with your field supervisor, because he or she should know what those needs are much better than you do. And if you do that in consultation with him or her, I think it would be very helpful. But that's explained in the assignment, and so when you finish that assignment, then please come back for Unit 1, Part 2.